Hey sports fans, Coach Nick here, and welcome to bBULLbreakdown. I'm going to start with the Orlando Magic Bulls game from last Friday, and I got to tell you, if Derrick Rose isn't voted MVP this year, he certainly should be voted most tough player because he's battling stomach ulcers, which have to be incredibly painful and nearly impossible to play his position with them. That said, I want you to watch out for Luol Deng in the third quarter because he really came and iced the game. It's also clear that against the Magic, you let Dwight Howard have his points and shut down everybody else. The Bulls opt not to hedge on the screen and roll by Orlando to try and take away position for Howard. Doesn't really matter much as he overpowers Thomas and gets a lefty hook. The Magic will completely ignore Keith Bogans, and that lets Jason Richardson come in there and get in the way, and that allows Dwight Howard to roam free and block shots. To illustrate just how much they want to ignore Keith Bogans, watch Jay Rich as he helps out on Boozer from the weak side, completely leaving Bogans open. Here, Bogans will swing it back. They're going to leave him again completely wide open, and this time, he makes him pay. The Bulls want to guard against Howard rolling to the basket, so they're not going to hedge on these screens. They're going to clog the lane. It works pretty well, and Bass hits a nice shot from the outside, but I'm sure the Bulls are willing to live with this. The Magic were doubling Boozer in the post every time, and in the rotation, guess who's going to be open in the corner? You guessed it, Bogans, who misses the three this time. Every bBULLbreakdown is required to have an example of how Derrick Rose has improved his jump shot, like this. Watch how good Deng is on defense. He's hustling, he's taking away a pass, forcing Turkoglu to catch the ball much farther away from the basket. But then watch how bad Boozer is on his hustle here, closing out on Brandon Bass. That's got to drive you crazy. Here's how dangerous long threes are early in the shot clock. When Rose takes this, Jay Rich is going to fly by him and go down the court, meaning Bogans can't pick him up. Deng has to. That means Bogans has to pick up Deng's man, Turkoglu, who gets right to the basket and shoots right over him. Rose gets to the basket pretty much anytime he wants. However, when Dwight Howard is back there, Rose won't get this kind of call. And here's my obligatory Thomas shouldn't shoot this far away clip. And that goes with how do you stop Dwight Howard when he runs this fast down the court? Thomas can't get in position and they lob it over him for a dunk. This possession clearly illustrates the difference between Vinny Del Negro's Bulls and Tom Thibodeau's Bulls. Watch the ball movement, the cutting. You got screen and roll and spacing. Everyone's touching the ball and sharing it. You have side-to-side action, and that culminates in Rose hitting a three in his favorite spot. Here's a great move young players should learn. It's a hesitation jump stop, then inside-out dribble, and then right to the basket with the left hand, dishing for Taj for a layup. Great move. I can't say enough good things about Kyle Korver. Watch how much pressure he puts on the defense by curling. Anderson has to come up to help, leaving Taj Gibson open. He'll fake to Gibson. That makes Bass bite on it, and that leaves Boozer wide open for a layup. Great offense. Watch Korver out of the flex. He's going to screen across and then get a screen down for himself. Wide open for a three. Nails it. Without Noah on the floor, Boozer has to guard Howard, but Gibson's in there and he should be guarding Howard here and let Boozer guard Anderson. With this Magic lineup, the Bulls are going to concede points to Howard by not doubling because you have Turkoglu, Redick, and Richardson out there on the three-point line. Duhan is the one guy you could lay off of, but they don't, and Howard gets a layup. Here's something that Bulls fans can get used to. Rose setting up off a screen and roll and kicking to Korver for a three. The third quarter became the Luol Deng show, and Thibodeau is saying he should be an all-star. I might agree with him. He's scoring, he's defending, he's rebounding, everything. So Deng is on fire, but watch Turkoglu. When they double down Boozer, he's going to completely lose where Deng is, and Deng says thanks. The Bulls' adjustment on the double down for Boozer is to space the floor weak side so that nobody can cover the high three-point shot. This time it's going to be Deng again. There really wasn't a way for them to rotate fast enough. Another great individual move. Watch Rose as he goes to a jump stop, brings his hands up like he's going to shoot it. The guy jumps by him and he crosses him over and gets to the basket for a dish. I feel like Boozer sometimes tries to overcompensate on defense to show that he's hustling. Here, the energy is misplaced as he goes for a fake and fouls a three-point shooter. Deng is still red hot and Turkoglu is just not a good defender and not fast enough to stay up with him. I've said this before, but I really love Ashik. He battles. Watch how he pushes Dwight Howard out of the way, gets the rebound, gets it to Gibson. They're going to set up their offense again, and watch how much space Quentin Richardson's going to give Luol Deng, the hottest player on the court. That's too much space to give him, and when Rose drives and kicks it to him, he can pull up for a nice, easy jump shot. And here is the obligatory clip where I show you where Kurt Thomas should be shooting it from. And Thomas also does a lot of good things on defense with his positioning and spacing. Here he's going to take a nice charge on Arenas. Everyone's asked me to comment on the new look Orlando Magic, or old look because of Turkoglu. I gotta tell you, they look pretty good. Dwight Howard seems to be having no trouble getting his stats. However, Turkoglu is a big liability on defense, and there are lots of small forwards out there that can light him up, much like Luol Deng in this game. They wanted to double team down on Carlos Boozer all the time, and they usually did it with Turkoglu, and that was a recipe for disaster. So the Magic are going to have to come up with something else against the Bulls and the other elite teams in the conference. Let's move on to the Pacers game on Saturday. This was a little bit of an easier game for the Bulls, but again, the same people are coming up big. That would be Rose, Boozer, and Deng, with a really big assist from Kyle Korver, who in my opinion is making a big push to be a starter. This play pretty much sums up the game. Rose to Deng, who drives to the basket and is going to dish to Boozer for the finish. Here's how Boozer can improve on defense. As his man is off the ball, he's going to do a back screen on Dunleavy. He doesn't call it out, doesn't help, doesn't see it, and they get a layup. You might wonder why Rose doesn't get more assists. When he goes to the basket, they're going to spot up and you'll see the three shooters ready to go, but he's so good at finishing that he rarely has to pass the ball. Teams will continue to double team Carlos Boozer in the post. Watch Derrick Rose as he does not cut to the basket, leaving Boozer to turn the ball over. In transition, Deng is going to tell Rose to get Dunleavy, the shooter. Too late, they don't communicate well, and he splashes it. Because Rose finishes so well at the basket, he tends to overlook wide open shooters that are spotting up. And when you miss a shot like that, you are out of position to get back, and the other team can race down and score without any hope of stopping it. They could improve their screen and roll defense. Rose has to be better at getting in that passing lane to stop the ball going back to the roller for a layup. The Bulls showed good patience on this hard hedge by the Pacers by getting the ball down low in the post and then back out to Deng. I will say that Gibson was in the lane for quite a long time. Here's how deadly Korver is from the outside. You'll see Granger turn his head and get stuck for a half a second. It's all he needs to rise up and nail a three. Gibson does a nice job on the hedge here, but on the rotation, he needs to go get the weak side shooter. They'll never stop that any other way. I think Korver deserves a shot at starting. He's been deadly from the outside. There's not much you can do to stop that shot. You have to hedge perfectly on the screen and roll defense if you want to succeed. Watch how Gibson gets in the way of Watson just long enough for Price to launch and make that three. The Pacers love to contest shots and then leak out to get on the break, but if you do that and the Bulls get the rebound, you're out of position and Korver goes right to the basket for a nice little reverse. If teams insist on doubling off of Kurt Thomas' man on Boozer, he'll continue to hurt them, although I'm going to say he should be 2 steps in on that shot. One of the reasons Rose doesn't get more assists is that he is usually the guy that shoots the ball when the shot clock is winding down. Teams are still willing to give Rose the outside jumper. Watch how McRoberts doesn't even put a hand up on that shot. Rose's decision making has also gotten a lot better. Watch this awesome crossover he uses to get to the basket. He gets up in the air, he's got a choice between Deng and Bogans to pass to. He sees Granger is moving toward Bogans a little bit, so rather than force it to the corner, he hits Deng, who then hits Bogans for a wide open three. McRoberts had been killing the Bulls all night, keeping him close, so watch Boozer as he tries to help one pass away and doesn't close out on him fast enough. The way to extend the lead and take control of a game is to take good shots, and here Korver is going to pull up for a nice easy 16-footer. What's making the Bulls so good and their record so good right now is their team defense. Everyone's playing good position defense, even Boozer is taking away drives on the screen and roll and then recovering on his man, and most importantly, they're boxing out and not letting teams get a lot of second shots. Like I said, to extend leads and pull away, you got to take really good shots. This is not one of them. Luol Deng really helped them everywhere on the court tonight. Here he pressures the ball handler into a miss. Since he's home, they're not going to call a foul on him there. Kyle Korver is playing the Ray Allen role in this offense. He cannot be stopped. When they down screen and curl, unless you block that shot, he's going to make it 6 or 7 times out of 10. That's a nail in the coffin. Because Korver is such a pest on defense, watch Posey grab his arm and they call a foul on him. And once again, Korver is going to put the final nail in the coffin by curling around another down screen and then dribbling the ball across the court and then pulling up for a nice open jump shot. Game over. So there you have it, Bulls fans. If you're really enjoying this content, please go over to theshortyawards.com and give us a vote with your Twitter account. I'd be much appreciated. That said, the Bulls just finished a great January, but they had most of their games at home, and guess what? In February, they're going to play 11 of 14 on the road, and we're finally going to get a handle on just how good they are. Good news, Joakim Noah's cast came off, and they're still targeting a date of just after the All-Star game. And I have to say that there isn't any Eastern Conference team that's going to want to play the Bulls in a playoff series with their full roster. I'm not sure they're ready to get to the finals this year. There's a lot of good teams. However, with a little more seasoning, they can be right up there by next year. And again, it's going to be a tough series for anybody to play against the Bulls, without a doubt. Thibodeau's got them playing terrifically and on team basketball on both ends of the floor, and I couldn't be more excited to see a resurgence in the Bulls. Well, stay tuned for our next bBULL breakdown this week, and don't forget, it's not a channel, it's a conversation.